Marcus Webb kept a birthday card in his glove compartment for 21 years. He had bought it on February 12, 1998, the same week his college girlfriend Janelle ended their relationship and moved to a different city without telling him she was 3 months pregnant. The card said "Happy Birthday, Baby Girl" on the front. He had bought it because something told him to, because some combination of a dream he'd had and the look on Janelle's face in the last days before she left made him suspect something he could never prove, something he spent 2 decades half believing and half dismissing. He never sent the card. He never threw it away. He just kept it in the glove compartment of every car he owned, moving it from one vehicle to the next across 21 years. 4 cities, 2 failed relationships, and a job driving trucks long haul across the American Midwest. On the afternoon of July 16, 2019, on the stage of Family Feud in Atlanta, Georgia, Steve Harvey looked at Marcus Webb and said, "Turn around." And everything Marcus Webb had been half believing for 21 years was standing right behind him. It was a Tuesday afternoon, hot even by Atlanta's summer standards, and the studio's air conditioning was working hard. Marcus Webb, 44, had driven his own truck from Chicago, Illinois, a 12-hour drive, because he couldn't afford to fly. He was a big, quiet man with a slow way of speaking and a habit of looking at the floor when he was processing something difficult, which was a habit that had served him poorly in relationships and well in nearly every other context of his life. His sister Brenda, 49, had submitted the Family Feud application after seeing him one Thanksgiving looking at that birthday card in the glove compartment and deciding that her brother needed something to look forward to. He was playing with Brenda, his cousin Darnell, and 2 church friends from his congregation in Chicago. The team was loose and easy on the surface, and Marcus was participating and smiling, and nobody watching from the bleachers would have suspected that he was carrying something in his chest that he had been carrying, quietly and completely alone, for 2 decades. But the real story hadn't started yet. Marcus had loved Janelle Carter the way you love someone when you are 22 years old and do not yet know that love alone is not enough to make someone stay. They had met in their junior year at Ohio State, been together for 14 months, been the kind of couple that other couples use as a reference point. Easy together, funny together, unself-conscious in the way that only happens when 2 people have genuinely found each other. Then Janelle's mother had gotten sick, and Janelle had transferred to a school closer to home, and the distance had done what distance does, and in February 1998, she had called him and said she needed to focus on her family and herself, and she was ending things. He had asked if she was okay. She had said yes. That was the last time they spoke. 3 months after that call, which would put Janelle at approximately 5 months pregnant, Marcus Webb had a dream. In the dream, he was sitting in a hospital waiting room, and a nurse came out and said, "Congratulations. It's a girl." He woke up and could not explain why he was certain it was real, but he drove to a Hallmark store that morning and stood in front of the birthday cards for 20 minutes and bought one that said, "Happy Birthday, Baby Girl," on the front. He put it in his glove compartment. He told himself he would throw it away eventually. He never did. He had tried, twice, to find Janelle. Once in 2003, when social media was new enough to feel like magic but sparse enough that most people weren't findable. He had sent a message to a profile that might have been her. No response. In 2011, he had hired a skip tracer, a person finder, for $200. The tracer had come back with an address in Memphis, Tennessee. Marcus had driven to Memphis, sat in his truck outside the address for 45 minutes, and then driven home. He could not explain what stopped him. He only knew that standing at someone's door after 13 years felt like something that required more certainty than he had. He had returned to Chicago. He had carried the card. What Marcus did not know, what he had no way of knowing, was that 21 years of questions on his side had generated 21 years of questions on another side. That a young woman named Destiny Carter, 21, had grown up knowing only that her father's name was Marcus. That he had gone to Ohio State, and that her mother had made a decision in 1998 that she had spent the subsequent 2 decades reconsidering. Janelle Carter had told Destiny everything when Destiny was 16. She had told her about Marcus, about the breakup, about the pregnancy she had been afraid to disclose, about the letters she had written and never sent. Destiny had spent 5 years trying to find her father through every resource available to a determined 21-year-old with internet access and a biological right to know who she was. She had found his sister Brenda on social media. She had, with Brenda's help and the Family Feud production team's coordination, arranged this afternoon. She was backstage right now. The producers had told Marcus that the final segment of the day's taping involved a special surprise for one of the contestants. They had not said more. Marcus was aware of this the way you are vaguely aware of something mentioned at the edge of a conversation, not quite believing it is for you. Steve Harvey, who had been given the full story 3 days before the taping, had spent those 3 days thinking about his own father, his own absent years, the people he had looked for when he was living in that Ford Tempo, and had been certain he would never find again. During the final break between rounds, Steve walked to the center of the stage. He did not pick up his host cards. He turned to Marcus Webb. "Marcus," he said, "I need to tell you something, and I need you to stay with me." Marcus looked at him. Something in his expression shifted, the look of a man whose body understands something before his mind catches up. 21 years ago, Steve said, a woman made a decision, and she has spent 21 years reconsidering it, and she made a different decision. And that decision is backstage right now. The studio fell completely silent. 300 people stopped breathing. Marcus Webb closed his eyes. He pressed both hands flat on the podium in front of him. When he opened his eyes, they were already full. His sister Brenda, standing to his right, put her hand on his back and then could not keep her own composure. "Marcus," Steve said, "I need you to do something for me." His voice was lower now, almost private, despite the cameras and the crowd. "I need you to turn around." Marcus Webb turned around. Destiny Carter walked through the curtain. She was 21 years old, 5'6", with her father's quiet eyes and her mother's sharp cheekbones. And she was walking across the Family Feud stage holding a piece of paper in both hands. As she got closer, Marcus could see that it was a birthday card. The same one, or one that might as well have been the same one, that had been sitting in his glove compartment for 21 years. She had bought it the morning before the taping. It said, "Happy Birthday, Daddy" on the front. Marcus Webb did not catch her, exactly, so much as they arrived at each other at the same moment, and then for a long time there was nothing but 2 people holding on to something they had not been sure, for a very long time, they were going to find. The studio fell completely silent. Not the game show kind. The kind where even the crew goes still, where the hardened television professionals look at the floor, where 300 people forget that they are watching anything other than something that belongs only to the 2 people at the center of it. Steve Harvey walked a few paces and stood with his back to the audience. His shoulders moved. When he turned back around, he was not trying to hide it. "I promised myself I wasn't going to do this today," he said. The audience laughed softly, the warm, wet kind of laugh that happens when people are crying and relieved at the same time. "But let me tell you something." He composed himself with visible effort. "I know what it feels like to not know if you're going to find the people you're looking for. I spent years in places where I was not sure the people who loved me were ever going to find me. And watching this right now," he stopped. "This is why I do this. This is the only reason any of this matters." He made a phone call from the stage to his personal attorney. He arranged on the spot for pro bono legal assistance for Marcus and Destiny to formalize their relationship, documentation, any court filings if needed, anything that required a lawyer that neither of them could afford. Then he called a travel company and booked a 4-day trip to Memphis, Tennessee for Marcus, Destiny, and Janelle Carter. The first time the three of them would be in the same room since February 1998. He arranged it out loud, on speaker, while 300 people listened and a camera captured every word. Both families received the full prize. Destiny Carter opened the glove compartment card 2 days later. Marcus had given it to her in the parking lot after the taping, in a moment not caught by cameras. Wrapped in a plastic sleeve, he had put it in sometime around 2005. She had held it for a long time without opening it. When she finally opened it, it said only "Happy Birthday, baby girl," and nothing else. No name, no signature, because he had bought it before he had a name to write. She has kept it. The episode aired on October 1st, 2019. The clip of Steve saying "turnaround" has been viewed 280 million times. The clip of Destiny walking through the curtain with the birthday card has been viewed an additional 190 million times as a standalone. Together, they represent the most replayed moment of that year on any streaming platform. The hashtag "turnaround" trended globally for 8 days. The clip has been shared by parenting organizations, adoption advocacy groups, ancestry services, and people who simply could not watch it without crying and needed to make sure everyone they knew had also cried. 3 months after the taping, Destiny Carter transferred to a community college in Chicago to be closer to her father. They have dinner together every Sunday. Marcus Webb still has the birthday card from 1998 in his glove compartment. He has shown it to Destiny. She says he should keep it there. "You carried it for me for 21 years, she said. "It belongs with you." Marcus Webb cried at that. He is not, by nature or habit, a man who cries easily. He is getting more practice. A year after the taping, Steve Harvey mentioned this story in a keynote address to Adina Ancestry Company's annual conference. He said, "Marcus Webb taught me something I thought I already knew. He taught me that the people who carry things in silence for the longest time are the ones who never stopped believing." He kept that card for 21 years. That is not stubbornness. That is faith. That is the longest prayer I have ever seen. Today, the Harvey Legal Access Fund, established from the proceeds of the onstage phone call that day, has provided pro bono legal assistance to 1,100 families seeking to establish or formalize parental relationships separated by circumstances of adoption, relocation, or undisclosed pregnancy. The program is based in 7 cities and has a 6-month waiting list. Destiny Carter volunteers for the program's Chicago chapter on Saturday mornings. Marcus drives her. Every birthday now, a card arrives on Marcus Webb's kitchen table with "Happy Birthday, Daddy" on the front. He has 4 of them so far. He keeps them in a shoebox. He has no plans to stop keeping them. If this story about Marcus and Destiny's 21 years and the afternoon that ended them touched your heart, subscribe and hit that like button. Share this with someone who believes it is never too late to find your family or your way home. Have you ever been reunited with someone you thought was gone forever? Share your story in the comments and ring the notification bell, because stories like this are the reason this channel exists.